Once upon a time, a girl named Felicity and a boy named Peter bought an abandoned farmhouse in New York. And today, on one of the last days of October, we have now owned this house for 3 months, and we have several exciting updates actually in today's video. The first is a continuation of the great siding adventure, which started a week ago and is making the house look massively better. We also have an update on the barn clean out, and I know you guys are probably as sick of hearing me say that as I am of saying it, but the end is in sight. And I have a question for you all. We discovered some, I think they're bricks, in the barn some time ago, and they've been in our extra stuff pile, and I have no idea what they are. So I would like your hive mind assistance on that one as well. And then the final part of this video, as promised, we have been selectively raiding, I guess you'll call it, our across the street neighbors' tip collection. They are getting ready to move, and they've been getting rid of a lot of stuff, and so I promised that I would share all of our treasures with you. So that's the last part of the video. Now, before we get into all of that, I have another question for you, and that is, I've been considering doing a Q&A video. You guys have been asking some really great questions in the comments, and I thought rather than answering them individually, it might be fun to sit down and answer them in a video. So if there's something you'd like to know about our home renovation project, please drop it in the comments below, and if we have enough interesting questions, I will do a Q&A video sometime in the month of November. So let's get started and let's take a look at the siding project. It is Wednesday, October 30th, All Hallows Eve, and it is a ridiculously warm 77-degree day at the end of October. You can see that they've been making a great deal of progress on the siding. They have finished the siding, almost finished the siding here on the back, and they are now working on the north and mostly just the north side, I think. Siding is going on, the last part here. This is where the foundation was repaired. It's really obvious when you look at it here that this is the part they've fixed, and that's the older part there. But look at all the stuff that's been fixed up here. Let's see if I can get you closer. I don't want to get too close because James is here sick, but look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? That looks 1,000% better than what it looked like the last time we were here. Well, that's not true. The upper part was done, so maybe 500% better than it looked the last time we were here. But all told, given what was there before, this is 1,000% better. And you can see that's Jess up there on the roof. She and Dewey are working on the siding on that side of the house, which is also looking a lot better and was pretty rough. Again, they had to take the roof off there too. Everywhere we had to take the old roof off. The siding that was underneath it had to go away. I'm up here on the road next to the mailbox, and you can really see them working there on the house next to the kitchen extension. So a question for you folks, because you've been so helpful thus far. These were pulled out a while ago, and I just noticed them when I was here last week in passing and forgot to take some pictures of them. So these are hollow and slightly curved, and they've got these on both sides. I think these came out of the barn, if I remember correctly. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. What are these? Do you know? If you know or think you know, please let me know in the comments, because I'm quite curious as to what they may have been. The last of the barn cleanup is happening, and I think we're almost ready to call the barn cleanup done. If I remember correctly, the bank is coming out at the end of this week to take a look at this and the pad for the stove and the gutters, I believe, and sign off on those being done. So the barn has been worked on and off since probably about the first week we were here. So that was the first week of August, and it's now the end of October. So this has been an on again, off again project. So it's really, really nice to see most of it being done. I'm walking around now down in our leach field, and I feel like every time we're here, I see more and more through the trees. In fact, today I can see, I believe that's Karen's septic tank, our neighbor's septic tank, that white in the distance, which means that somewhere back there should be a property boundary marker, which would be lovely. And I know several of you warned me about poison ivy in the forest, which I hadn't honestly thought about, but is a wise precaution. And I know some of you had asked, or at least somebody had asked in the comments, was it possible there was a flood here? Yes, there absolutely was a flood here in 2018. This stream bed, which comes down from over here next to where the barn was and cuts through here, kind of goes along that line of trees back there. It overflowed in 2018, and in fact it overflowed so much that it came in the ground floor of the house. So yes, it is possible that some of this junk here was carried by the flood and that nobody cleaned up after that, because as far as we can tell, 2018 is about the last time that anybody was here for any consistent length of time. For some reason, the song line I have in my head today is just the one line, and it's the one that says, "I've looked at love from both sides now." I don't know why that's in my head. I don't know all the words. I don't even think I could sing you anything but that line. And that shed, I know some of you had asked in the comments if it might have been an outhouse. We don't think so. It's not the right shape to be an outhouse. It's not in the right location. It definitely looks like it was something that was either carried there by the floodwaters or chucked there when it was no longer useful, but I don't think it's an outhouse. It's not that old, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't look that old from a distance. So while all this work has been going on with the house, we've actually been working on another project, and I guess we'll call it Project Upcycle or Reuse. It's one of those projects where you think to yourself, gosh, this is the right place, right time. It feels magical because it's all just working. And we've had a couple things happen in the last 2 weeks that line up with that philosophy. The first one is that we happened to move here right when our new local library was having their annual book sale. So we have acquired a number of delightful books from the book sale. I unfortunately only took a picture of my haul from day one. We actually bought this many books again on day 2, along with several DVDs. So that was really exciting. And we got to meet the new library director, who just started a few weeks ago, and she is delightful. And Peter and I think, are both going to volunteer at the library. So that's been really fun. The main thing, of course, is the thing that I mentioned at the start of the video, and if you saw the last video as well, our neighbors across the street have been moving out, and so we have been profiting from their clearing out, which is so sad that they're leaving, but what they're leaving behind is really exciting. Just behind me here, this rocking chair actually came from a neighbor at our rental house here, and I saw it on Facebook. He was getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and I walked over there one day last week. We had a lovely chat for an hour and a half. It turns out that he is the local fire chief for the fire district that's just south of our house and includes our rental house. So we've been acquiring an enormous amount of stuff, relatively speaking, in the last few weeks. So I want to end with clips of discovering some of these treasures because, oh my gosh, you guys, this is one of the things that I dreamed we would do when we moved to New York. And honestly, I didn't think we would be doing this until after we had moved into the house. But when the universe wills, you go with the flow. Guys, Nirvana has happened. So we're in our neighbors across the street basement, and they have this huge collection of ball jars, and they're not taking any of them. We've just cleared out. That was full. That was full. And we're just packing up and packing up. I think we're going to run out of boxes before we run out of stuff we want to take, which means we'll have to be back. What a treasure trove. What an absolute treasure trove of ball jars. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Well, 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 this is a great sight. This is the first of what I'm sure is going to be many loads. But I wanted to wash the treasure trove of mason jars that we acquired from our new neighbor across the road, and I have to tell you, it is wildly satisfying to see these coming out. This is just a small amount of what's there. And then all of these boxes out here, and I do mean all of them, have jars in them. And then there are 3 more bags over there in the corner. Honestly, I feel the same way looking at these that I do about laundry being dry on the line. So I guess what I'm finding out is that my sense of pattern recognition and rightness in the world really likes things that are clean and organized. So we're back for round 2 of picking up the rest of the canning jars, and we've got 6 of these medium boxes filled mostly full, and a crate and some books. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is amazing. So these came from the same place as our brand new canning jar collection, and I have heard about the Foxfire series from my coworkers at Homestead Living, but I have never actually seen one, and I'm given to understand that because these are older, they're difficult to find complete sets, and I don't know if I have a complete set. I have through 6. I was like, oh, they're not in the best condition, like this one has some damage on the cover, but the pages themselves are perfectly fine. So I, as far as I understand, have just scored something of a rare or a mythical, well, not really mythical because people have them, but definitely a rare collection of old books. These, I believe, as I understand them, were written about from Appalachia, and they're from, I don't actually remember when they're from. Let me see. I want to say that they were described to me as being a while ago. 1980 is the publication date on this one, so back in the era of black and white photography, but they're how-tos, and you can see on the cover, this one covers shoemaking, 100 toys and games, gourd banjos and songbows, wooden locks, a water-powered sawmill, and other affairs of just plain living. They all end with, and other affairs of just plain living. This one is iron-making, blacksmithing, flintlock rifles, bear hunting. This one is fiddle making, spring houses, horse trading, sassafras tea, berry buckets, and gardening. This one is animal care, banjos and dulcimers, hide tanning, summer and fall wild plant foods, butter churns, and ginseng. This one still says, and still more affairs of plain living. It's the only one that has and still more in it. This one covers ghost stories, spring wild plant foods, spinning and weaving, midwifing, burial customs, corn shuckins, and wagon making. And the original one is hog dressing, log cabin building, mountain crafts and foods, planting by the signs, snake lore, hunting tales, faith healing, and moonshining. So this, I've been waiting since Sunday to show you guys this. This is a hand-cranked fruit press, like a cider press, wine press, other fruit press. And what we're trying to figure out now is how to move it, because it's awkward. The wood barrel actually just sits on the base and detaches, so that's fine, but that shaft in the middle is solid metal, as it ought to be, and is heavy. We can unscrew that part from the top, but the base, and then with this long shaft in here, it's just awkward and heavy. And Peter and I, neither of us are great lifters, so he's talking to the guys across the street to see if maybe they can provide some assistance, but we are really excited about this. Levon said that he doesn't remember where he picked it up, but he thinks he remembered picking it up for free. He's had it for some number of years. It looks to be in good condition. I mean, the thing twists, it's not rusty. It obviously needs to be cleaned, but we're really excited to, ideally, to use this. And even if we can't use it for some reason, it's still a really cute decorative item, but we are really excited about this. These are the plates that we picked up from our neighbor's free pile across the road. These are the ones that attracted me initially. They're green, like a kind of a dark green and black with that gold embossment. And then these were right next to them on the ground. I think they're a slightly different set, but they're very pretty. And then there were some individual plates, and I pulled out a few. This one is yellow, which I love, with the flowers in the middle, beautiful colors. And then this one is kind of the opposite of that, plain white with the color in the middle, which I also love. And then I picked up this one. Peter was not fond of this one, and I almost put it back because it is definitely more glitzy, but I really like the slightly embossed look on the middle. So I'm sure none of these are meant to go in the dishwasher, and I've probably picked up a whole set of hand wash plates, but they were super cute, so I'm pretty excited about them. There are two other treasures that I have not taken pictures or videos of, and they are books and freeze-dried food. So we have acquired several books from Levon and Autumn's collection. A couple of them are in French. A couple of them are about winemaking. I've started reading one of them. It is hilarious. The guy who wrote it was alive during Prohibition, republished it in the 70s, and was the editorial director of the Baltimore Sun-Times. And so his writing style is hilarious. And then the other thing that we acquired, it was actually out in the free pile the same day we got the plates. They had put out boxes of they put out boxes of freeze-dried food, the kind that you might take camping, so, spaghetti and meatballs, granola with bananas, stuff like that. Now, the freshest by date on those is 2012 to 2017, but freeze-dried food is good for 30 years, and so we need to do a little bit more research and just make sure that those were manufactured within the last 10 or 20 years. We're pretty sure they were, because that's when freeze-dried food started really hitting kind of the backpacker market. And if those foods are edible, then we have probably a month's worth of freeze-dried meals that we can use on nights that Peter doesn't want to cook, or if he goes on an overnight trip, or we go on a trip, right, and we don't want crappy hotel breakfast, we can take our freeze-dried food instead. So wildly excited about both of those things. So there may yet be more treasures to be discovered, but that is it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you as always, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And don't forget, if you have a question that you'd like me to cover in a Q&A video, drop it in the comments below. See you next time.